way, we want you. It's like the Michael Jackson old, Jackson 5 song. We
Yeah.
want you back.
Yeah. Another thing we wanted to invite people to is in February, starting the 11th. So the second Tuesday of every month is going to be our book club. And in February, March, and April, we're going to be reading Richard Twist's last book, Rescuing the Gospel from the Cowboys. There's 6 primary chapters, so we'll do 2 per book club. And people can join us for that. But if you're looking for something to put on a wish list or a new challenging book for 2020, this is a great read. And so we're hoping that you will pick this up and join us in the 7th anniversary of Richard's passing. We wanted to do something that honored him and continued the conversation that he was such an instigator and he was such a catalyst for people to discover some new ideas and an ancient perspective, and he was just a great spokesman.
Yeah, one of the best. And we are going to do a program, right? Featuring Richard and maybe some of Richard's friends, and we can talk about some of the great things that he has done and what his life meant here.
Yeah. So if you are looking for some resources for the coming year, to make sure to pick up Shalom, the Community of Creation, for our final conversation in January about that. And then as we begin February, March, and April to talk about rescuing the gospel from the Cowboys. Randy, before we close this episode, I wanted to do one more thing with housekeeping from our last season. So we ended season 1, episode 47, with a live chat with some of our friends on a Sunday afternoon. And there was a moment during that conversation that I feel like I need to tell you what was happening on my side of the screen. You couldn't see it, but something kind of extraordinary happened. So at one point you were talking about the book of Job. And in chapter 12, Job says, let the animals teach you. Listen to the animals.
Speak to the earth and it will tell you. Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the most interesting things you've ever said. I actually don't know if I've ever heard you say it. I may have before, but something didn't connect. Maybe because it's such a foreign concept to my Western mind, but something about it piqued my interest. And at the exact moment you were saying that, I was sitting at a desk that looked out a window, and there was a big spider web outside with a big spider sitting right in the middle of the spider web. And at the moment that you were talking about this, a hummingbird came in and plucked the spider right off the middle of its web.
Really?
I'd never seen that before.
I didn't even know hummingbirds did anything except for nectar. Yeah.
I don't know that they do. I thought they existed purely on sugar water.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I'd never seen anything like it. So that hummingbird comes in, plucks those spider off, and I thought to myself, well, what the hell am I supposed to learn from that? So it agitated me, but I held it, right? Because you had said, listen to the animals, let the animals teach you. So I held this thing. So in the month that followed, like sometimes when I arrive at work, there's a congress of crows out behind in the woods out behind my work, and I'll watch the crows and I'll say, I'm trying to pay attention more, or whatever it is, watching the squirrels put away nuts for the winter. I've really taken this to heart and been trying to think to myself, what am I to learn? How can I learn? And I was getting actually a little frustrated because nothing was coming to me. And I was actually thinking to myself, man, this is way harder than it sounds, because I saw that thing happen, that event happen, that incident with the hummingbird. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to take from that. And then something amazing happened. So I'm part of a Bible study on Wednesday nights. We're reading through the book of Job. We get to chapter 12, this part that you're talking about. And then in the subsequent chapter, when Job is talking, he basically makes the case against his very spiritual friends. He says, you guys are full of it. It doesn't work like this. Because bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. You think that there's this one-for-one economy, and that if somebody's doing well, it's because they're a good person, and if somebody's not doing well, it's because they're a bad person or they've done something wrong. And he says, look, the truth is, we're all in the same boat, the moral and the immoral, the virtuous and the unvirtuous. We're all in big trouble. Mm-hmm. And I thought, we're all the spider on the web.
Well, that's right. Well, and we're all connected.
Yeah.
Wherever we are on the web, we're all connected to one another.
And it was like I learned from the animals.
Yeah.
Randy, it was an incredible, I have goosebumps right now.
Yeah. Well, see, so that's, if you will, that's the first book of Creator, right?
Yeah.
Is creation. And I always say that it's the first, and it's the foremost, and it's the most consistent revelation that we will ever get. But this is the thing that we all have in common. This is the thing that we all have. Creator teaches us through creation. We don't all have the Bible or the Quran or the whatever other holy books there are. Mm-hmm. Those came later. Those are reflective of the lessons learned oftentimes. And as you've pointed out to me, Jesus talked mostly about creation and the things of nature, not about the inventions that were going on and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, we just have to spend the time out going back to our the original intentions of Creator, and which is not to shut ourselves out, but to allow creation to come in to teach us. Yeah.
Man, it is so difficult when you haven't been taught to learn or listen, or let's say read the lesson, the signs that are in front of you. Sometimes you don't even know what you're looking at, and you would never think to yourself, this is a learning opportunity, right? You chalk it up to something else like coincidence or oddity or something. And yeah, but I remember it was almost 10 years ago that we first had that conversation where I said, I just realized when Jesus is talking about how the world works, he never says it's like a catapult or a battering ram or a chariot. Yeah,
or a spear.
Right. He says like a little bird. There's like a plant. And it's amazing, when you realize that there's so many learning opportunities and lessons that creation is always speaking. But if we're not tuned in, to that frequency, to use a technology language, if we're not tuned into it or attuned to it, we miss all of it. The whole broadcast goes right past us.
Right, or in harmony with it.
Yeah, I love
which
that.
Is, and we have to be if we're going to repair the earth and bring things back into harmony, we have to be listening to what the earth is teaching us about. You can't just, it's just like the old missionary endeavor. Like, I have something, I'm going to fix you, Yeah. Well, no, you have to understand what's going on there first. And if we're not attuned to the earth, then how do we know how to fix it?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to thank you for that, that reminder that there is learning to be had everywhere, not just in a classroom, not just in a book, because that really, there was something about that caught my attention and sort of, agitated me in the moment because it was so foreign to the way that I was thinking.
Yeah, and it's a sign. And
yes,
we've had so many signs in our lives. So many. I mean, maybe we could do a program sometime just on a lot of the lessons and the signs that have occurred, because Creator is not shy about sending signs when you actually are in the right frame of mind to understand.
Wow. Wow. That is a great note to end on.
All right. Sounds
Well, just for recap, we want to invite everybody to a book club on January 14th, February 11th, March 10th, and April 14th. So the second Tuesday of every month, it's going to be from 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. And we're going to wrap up with the Shalom in the Community of Creation. And then we're going to move on to rescuing the gospel from the Cowboys. And we hope that everyone will join in for those online conversations. Thanks again to our Patreon supporters for supporting us. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, thanks so much. We appreciate it. And, peace out.